NBC40 presents Conversations with the Candidates.
Hello and welcome to Conversations with the Candidates. I'm Jeff Whitaker. Between now and the November general election, we will talk with the men and women running for the office of Governor, U.S. Senate, along with State Senate and Assembly candidates from South Jersey. We'll spend 30 minutes with each of the candidates. We'll learn their background, why they are seeking the office, and most importantly, why electing them is the choice that you should make. We're also giving you, our viewers, an opportunity to submit your questions to the candidates as well, and I'll tell you later on how you can participate. This half hour, we'll speak with the Republican candidate seeking the state Senate seat representing the 1st Legislative District. Today, we welcome Susan Adelizzi-Schmidt. She is the first ever female Senate candidate for the 1st District. She is a resident of Upper Township. She's the mother of 2. Ms. Adelizzi-Schmidt is a business owner with strong roots here in South Jersey. She's president of Suasion Communications Group in Summers Point and also an adjunct professor at Richard Stockton State College of New Jersey. Susan Adelizzi-Schmidt, thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here, Jeff.
As a matter of full disclosure, I want to let everyone know that at a point early on in your career path, you actually worked for me as a reporter here at NBC40, and that was, we won't say when that was. It was in the early 1990s.
It was many moons ago, and it was a pleasure to work here. This is really where it all started for me. I started out on the assignment desk and then quickly started getting into news reporting and then was promoted to weekend anchor. So I had a lot of opportunity to get to know South Jersey by being a reporter and interviewing a lot of elected officials. And that's really where I got my start with my career. And then it later went into public relations and marketing. And then I had the opportunity to actually own my own business, as you mentioned, Suasion Communications Group. And I've been the owner of that company for the last 6 years.
You have roots in South Jersey. Your family has owned businesses in Cape May County, and so you've grown up in the business world.
Sure. My family's actually had businesses here since the 1950s. My Nana and grandfather had a motel built on Andrews Avenue in Wildwood back in 1953. And then my parents followed suit and got into the motel business here as well. And my family has had businesses here for quite a long time. And yes, my roots are deep here in South Jersey. I've lived in the 1st Legislative District for the last 30 or so years and spent my childhoods here as well. Growing up in a family business, working hard, and really excited to be running for Senate this year.
You have a communications business. You have now entered the political arena. What led you to make that step and say, I want to enter politics?
Well, it was something that I knew I would get into eventually. Back when I was a news reporter here, actually, Jeff, and we talked a little bit about this before we came on the show, I used to interview municipal officials, legislative people all the time, and I had the opportunity actually to interview Senator Jimmy Cafiro on many occasions, and that's really where I think I got most of my inspiration from when I was much younger, watching him handle legislative issues and the fact that he was able to juggle his family, his law practice, and also being senator. But really what inspired me about him is how much he loved his community, and I feel the same exact way, and I'm really excited about this opportunity to serve as the 1st Legislative District Senator.
What do you feel are the major issues facing South Jersey, facing the 1st Legislative District in particular, that you think you would be better suited at addressing than the incumbent current Senator Jeff Van Drew?
Well, I just want to first mention what the 1st Legislative District is, where it is. Sometimes people get confused about where it begins and ends in the 2nd Legislative District. The 1st Legislative District contains all of Cape May County, most of Cumberland County, and just one small sliver of Atlantic County. So that's the area that we're talking about. And I have lived in this region, as I mentioned, for decades. And really the thing that inspired me the most in terms of wanting to run this year is the high unemployment rate. Jeff, we have the highest unemployment rate in the entire state, and this is not something that should be taken lightly. I think that as a matter of course, people who have lived in this district kind of accept this because we rely very heavily on tourism and so forth, and there just isn't a lot of businesses there. This needs to change, and that's why I'm running. I come from, as we mentioned, a long line of job creators, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to create economic development, economic opportunity in the 1st Legislative District, to recruit businesses in, and to create more of just a greater quality of life, really, for the residents of the district.
The 1st Legislative District obviously was hit hard by Sandy and storms of the past year, not as hard maybe as our friends to the north of us were, but a report came out basically after Labor Day. I saw several reports that said the Jersey Shore really didn't recover as well as far as economically concerned with the summer as they had anticipated. There was an ad campaign that the governor, controversial a little, and that he participated in, and there was this push to bring people to the shore, but really didn't fully play out as they had expected.
Well, I actually just saw Governor Christie. He was in the Wildwoods in Cape May just a week ago or so, and we talked a little bit. He's fully aware of the fact that that campaign was a start, and it's something that needed to be done. We needed to get the message out that that New Jersey was open for business and that it was recovering from the storm. But he was quick to point out that this is a long-term process, and I agree with him. It wasn't going to happen overnight, that we were going to get this message out. Coming from advertising and marketing, I know that takes many, many impressions to be able to get that message across. I think the summer of 2013 certainly was it was an okay summer. It wasn't a blockbuster. I think 12 was a blockbuster summer, and coming off of that and then going into 2013, a lot of businesses had high hopes that they would see great returns and didn't, but it doesn't mean it ends now. It ends here. We need to continue to get that message out that New Jersey's open for business and that the businesses are doing well and thriving. And I think with Governor Christie at the helm, we are definitely going to continue to get that message out.
When we interviewed Senator Van Drew for this program, we would bring up various topics, and he would say, I agree with the governor on this, I agree with the governor on that. And tried to go to great lengths to point out how he has separated himself from his party in some ways. So, as someone who is a senator seated already, what would you bring from the district to Trenton that could better represent the district than what, given the fact that he claims that he agrees with the governor on a lot of things, and obviously you're running as a Republican, he is a Democrat?
Okay, that's a great question, and I think that Senator Van Drew often will pander based on if it's election season or not, in terms of where he stands with the Republicans and with the governor. One thing I can say in terms of my candidacy and when I become senator, I don't have a political background. This is the first time that I'm running for office, so I am a totally fresh slate. I bring fresh perspective, high energy, and vitality to this position, and I don't see that happening with Senator Van Drew and our current legislators in the district. That's why I'm running. That's exactly why I'm running, because it's kind of the same old, and a lot of political speak and not a lot of action. I want to bring jobs into this district.
And how do you do that?
I'm so glad you asked, because I am myself and my running mates are going to be unveiling an economic development plan, and that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. It's a multifaceted plan, and it's going to address not only how to bring new businesses into the area, but also addressing how to better connect Trenton with the existing businesses that we have in the district right now. This has not been a part of the discussion at the Senate level. From what I can understand, I've never seen discussion about this, other than the fact that when Senator Van Drew first started to enter the legislature, when he started his campaign back in 2001. This is a long time ago already. He was in the Assembly first, and now he's in the Senate. But when he first started to throw out campaign promises, he was talking about creating jobs and lowering taxes. And what's happened now, 11 years later, we fast forward and we have higher taxes and we still don't have the jobs. So I kind of feel like enough is enough. you've had your turn. You've had your opportunity to do what you promised that you were going to do, and you didn't deliver. I want to get in there. I just want to kickstart it. I want to unveil my plan, and I want to execute my plan, and that's exactly what I'm planning to do when I take office in January.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue and include some of your questions that you have submitted in just a moment. Stay with us.
Conversations with the Candidates, brought to you in part by the ACUA, keeping recycling easy and convenient in Atlantic County, and by Sure Crucial Care Atlantic City. The doctor will see you now for your urgent medical needs.
Music inspires, but passion makes us the best. Passion led us to build Shore Medical Center's state-of-the-art surgical pavilion and earn Plaintree designation for the best patient-centered care. It's a passion we share with our exceptional physicians, our affiliates at Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey and Penn, and as a member of the Jefferson Neuroscience Network. Most of all, it's a passion for the people we care for. Shore Medical Center, New Jersey's only Plaintree designated patient-centered hospital.
When I took a $5,000 pay cut because of an unexpected injury, my credit union helped me lower my monthly payments so I could still afford everything. I never felt embarrassed to talk to them about my situation, and they never turned me down or told me that something was impossible. My credit union found me possibilities. I'll stay with them for the rest of my life, and I know my 15-year-old daughter can rely on them too.
Like Aaron, many are struggling. Visit bankingyoucantrust.com for help. Credit unions. Banking you can trust.
If you have a leak in your air conditioner, you're going to find out pretty soon when you turn it on. If your unit uses Freon, you're in for a rude awakening. This stuff now costs 1,500 times more than it did 14 months ago. That's massive. You're going to pay a small fortune to get your air conditioner repaired. Look into your options, make a decision. Maybe it's cheaper or at least more economical to put a new unit in. Don't put this out into Freon. Check your options. Call McAllister, the service company, and mcservice.com.
Your opinion really does matter. Here at NBC40, we want to know what's important to you. We'd like to invite you to be part of the NBC40 Viewer Information Panel. As an NBC40 VIP, you can tell us what's important to you, what you like about NBC40, and how we can improve. And to show our appreciation for being an NBC40 VIP, you will automatically be entered into a random drawing for a $250 Visa gift card. Signing up is easy. Visit NBC40.net and click on the VIP logo.
Welcome back to Conversations with the Candidates. Susan Adelizzi-Schmidt is our guest. She is running as a Republican in the 1st Legislative District for the seat of State Senate. And we're going to take an opportunity now to ask her some of the questions that you've submitted as our viewers. Ryan M. from Linwood writes, it's been said that property taxes drive up housing costs, keeping people from moving to New Jersey and causing people to leave New Jersey. Do you have a plan to reform the tax structure within the state to help middle-class voters?
Well, this is a great question, and property taxes have continued to increase. Certainly Senator Van Drew, over his 11 years in the legislature, has voted many, many times to increase not only property taxes, but also many fees and just burdensome situations that are created through this. As far as my plan to reduce property taxes, I'm in total agreement with Governor Christie in trying to reduce property taxes with an income tax credit. He had proposed this earlier this year. It was defeated by the Democrats, and this brings up another issue, and that's the fact that we have a Democrat-led legislature. The Senate is led by Senator Sweeney, and we are 5 seats away, actually, Jeff, from having a Republican majority. There needs to be some changes there in the Senate and throughout the legislature in order for Governor Christie to get his agenda done, and that's exactly why I want to head to Trenton to assist him with that.
Linda W. from Millville writes, how do you feel about raising the minimum wage in New Jersey? Do you believe it's fair, or should it be raised?
Well, it's another great question. Of course, we have this question on the ballot, and people need to take a serious look at what is involved with this question. The minimum wage right now is $7.25 an hour in New Jersey. It's low. It's certainly not a wage that people can get by on. The question, though, that's on the that's on the ballot this November is asking whether or not you want the minimum wage raised, but it's going to be tied to the CPI, to the Consumer Price Index, which means that inflation could drive this minimum wage much higher. This makes me uncomfortable. I think it makes a lot of small business owners uncomfortable as well. In speaking to business owners throughout the district on my campaign, I've had several business roundtables, and they're concerned about this because they're saying that if the minimum wage goes up, that's one thing. If it goes up that $1, but if it's tied to the CPI, that's really going to change things up. So they may decrease the number of hours that they're currently having people work in their businesses. They may actually end up cutting jobs. So overall, the way that this is packaged right now on the ballot, I don't think it's a good thing.
I brought this up to Senator Van Drew in the context of, and you being a small business owner, I would think could appreciate this, in that a lot of jobs, when people talk about the minimum wage, jobs aren't meant to be dead-end jobs. They're meant to be jobs if you're going to work at a fast food restaurant. You're not really, it's not designed to be a job where you'll be there for the rest of your life unless you're in a managerial position. So therefore, to say it's not livable is an argument that really doesn't hold water, because it's worth so much to that employer, that job that you are doing. And as you've said, then when you raise that, then you work the business out of that job. Then they can't make a profit any longer.
Well, you bring up a good point, but there's no doubt. I mean, $7.25 an hour is a very low number, and it would be very difficult to get by on that number. So raising the minimum wage is not a bad idea, and I actually would agree with if it were just a $1 raise of the minimum wage, I wouldn't necessarily be against that, and I think that business owners wouldn't necessarily be against it either, because it's set. But when you tie it to the CPI, then it becomes this unknown, and it's unpredictable, and that's what that's where I think this question is flawed.
James M. from Strathmere writes, what is your view on gun control in the state? Do we need to have stricter regulations on automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines? And also, what do you think about school security being allowed to carry weapons? Okay,
great question, because I get this question all the time on the campaign trail. In fact, it's one of the more popular questions. Where do I stand on gun rights? I'm absolutely an advocate of Second Amendment rights, and I think whenever people bring up the question of guns, this isn't about the folks that are doing the right thing, that own the gun, that properly store the gun, that pay the permit fee, that get the permit. This isn't really what the conversation is about. Those people should be protected. They're doing the right thing. What we're concerned about here are the folks that aren't following all of those rules, that are obtaining guns and doing crazy things with them. More regulations on the gun owners isn't necessarily, and I can tell you right now, in my opinion, it's not going to do a darn thing to control those people that are going to do crazy things with guns. So, I mean, the two don't necessarily match up. To answer your question about folks carrying guns in schools, it seems like a drastic measure to me, but certainly one that I would take a look at and get some expert advice on from law enforcement before I would probably want to comment further on that.
Edward S. from North Wildwood writes, do you approve of the licensing of medical marijuana growing facilities in the state of New Jersey?
This is an interesting question. I think that it's one that needs to be taken, I think you need to take a look at it very, very closely. For those folks that need medical marijuana or marijuana for medicinal purposes, there is a role for that. It needs to be controlled very carefully, so it doesn't have unintended consequences. I am not in favor of this type of situation, but again, before I would ever make a decision on it in the legislature, I would seriously study the issue and talk with folks that are dealing with these issues that need this, and then make my decision from there.
This question, this next question dovetails a little bit into what we talked about in our last segment, but I just want to see maybe we could spend a little time on it. Angelise B. from Egg Harbor City writes, unemployment is higher in New Jersey, especially South Jersey, and she asks, what ideas do you have to bring more jobs to our area? I know you said that in the coming days you're going to reveal a plan, but Cape May County, parts of Cumberland County with the the rural farmlands. Of course, you have people that are seasonal, people who work along the shore are seasonal employees. So what kind of initiatives, or what's the mindset of this plan you're putting together to help people to be able to have viable employment year-round here?
Well, I can give you a little bit of a preview of some of the facets that we're going to be unveiling in our plan. First and foremost, communication is a big aspect of this, creating an information portal so people know what's going on in the State House and vice versa. I think there's a major disconnect as far as that goes. Now, that portal will also have information on where people can go to get jobs and where there is assistance as far as that goes. So that's that's one of the components of it. Another component is creating an economic development board that would be bipartisan. It would have the municipal officials involved in it, would have business owners involved in it. It also would have the folks that are already working on economic development involved. We're doing this, some communities are doing it, the counties are doing it at a certain level. We need to all work together and come up with a solid plan and address the issues together as a legislative district. Another thing that I often find when I'm knocking on doors and talking to people, Jeff, is that there's very little cross-pollination between Cumberland and Cape May County. There needs to be more of that communication. And I also just think in terms of packaging up our district, reviewing what our assets are, understanding that we have a terrific, talented workforce that's available, and getting that message out to businesses. Businesses want to come into places where they're going to be welcomed. We need to put that welcome mat out for them.
We're going to take another break, and we'll be back with more of our discussion right after this.
Atlantic County's recycling program benefits our environment, but recycling in Atlantic County also generates savings for our towns. Recycling reduces the need for landfilling, it saves energy and resources. One way to keep Atlantic County green is to make recycling our #1 goal. Recycling has been law here for 25 years, so whether it's at home, school, or work, the ACUA can help you set up your recycling program. Let's keep Atlantic County beautiful. Call the ACUA today.
Having our own surgery center gives us lots of advantages because it's only ophthalmology.
We have the newest technology lasers and the newest technology cataract removal equipment available.
Patients are met by people who take care of eye patients all the time.
That's the great thing about Horizon Eye Care. First and foremost, convenience for our patients and control over our operating rooms.
There's nothing like an ambulatory surgery center that's dedicated to only one specialty. That's all we do here.
So we can offer our patients the best eye care possible.
Visit acairport.com today.
A South Jersey tradition has come back home. The Miss America pageant returns to Atlantic City on September 15th.
Since 1921, Miss America has held a special place in the heart of South Jersey. Hi, I'm Linda Weed. Join me now through September 15th as I go behind the crown for the exciting events leading up to the pageant's long-awaited return.
Watch NBC40 News Monday through Friday from 5 to 6:30 p.m. and every evening at 11 p.m.
Welcome back to Conversations with the Candidates. Our guest this half hour has been Susan Adelizzi-Schmidt. She is running for the legislative district, the first legislative district Senate seat on the Republican ticket. And if you could speak directly to the voters of your district and tell them why they should elect you in November and what should drive them to vote for you when they go to the polls, what would you say is the overriding reason why they should vote for you?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's because I'm going to bring an energy level and a vision and a plan to the first legislative district. We have not had that in recent history, certainly under Senator Van Drew. I think there's been a lot of promises that have been made by the senator that have not been delivered upon. I don't want to just make promises. I want to actually unveil a plan and execute that plan and bring jobs in, creating a better quality of life, economic opportunity for all residents of the 1st Legislative District is the primary reason why I'm running. I'm a small business owner. I'm a mom. I'm very involved in the community. I'm also an adjunct faculty member at Stockton, so I play a lot of different roles, and I have lived in the district for several decades now, and I think it's time that we have someone who is going to lead the district in the right way, with vision and with some energy and excitement.
Tell us a little bit about what would be your first job or the first thing that you would do when elected to Trenton. Where would you tackle first? What issues?
Well, again, jobs would be first and foremost in my mind. Creating that economic development board that I mentioned earlier. I think, Jeff, that's really where I need to get started. I want to work in a bipartisan fashion. I want to work with the people who are already on this case. Across the district, there are people that are already working in economic development. There are small business owners that are eager to get involved in this process. I want to work with municipal officials and get that situated and get that started and get that board in place, and then start to execute some of the other items in my plan. But jobs first and foremost. That's why I'm running. I have no political background here. I don't even really have any political agenda. I think I'm running for all the right reasons. I come from from the private sector. I come from small business, and I want to make a better quality of life for my own family. I have 2 children, and I want to make a better quality of life for all the families in the 1st Legislative District. That's why I'm running.
We'll be back with more right after this. Stay with us.
Conversations with the Candidates, brought to you in part by the ACUA, keeping recycling easy and convenient in Atlantic County, and by Sure Crucial Care Atlantic City. The doctor will see you now for your urgent medical needs.
Music inspires, but passion makes us the best. Passion led us to build Shore Medical Center's state-of-the-art surgical pavilion and earn Plaintree designation for the best patient-centered care. It's a passion we share with our exceptional physicians, our affiliates at Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey and Penn, and as a member of the Jefferson Neuroscience Network. Most of all, it's a passion for the people we care for. Shore Medical Center, New Jersey's only Plaintree designated patient-centered hospital.
When I design furniture for my collection, I draw upon the places my life has taken me, combining fashion, style, and a bit of fun. My goal is to create beautiful, contemporary pieces that appeal to every style, every budget, and every state of mind.
At Raymore & Flanagan, we know no matter what you're looking for, you'll find Cindy Crawford's home collection has designs that will work beautifully and comfortably in your home.
Find my collection now, exclusively at Raymore & Flanagan.
Mitsubishi systems are very quiet. Inside, you can put them up on the wall. Outside, you can mount them out of harm's way. They're very efficient. They give each room individual control, and you don't have to deal with the ductwork. You gained a closet where the heater used to be. There's all sorts of pluses to these systems. If you had a problem with Sandy, or you have a problem room or other area, Mitsubishi Electric systems are probably a great way to solve those issues.
Just call McAllister at 927-4122 or mcservice.com.
This season, grab your favorite NFL team jersey.
Join NBC40 every Sunday night for NFL.
NBC40 has the top rivalry games that will keep you on the edge of your seat.
And remember, you can see us in high definition on Comcast Channel 798. And you know what they say, Sean.
That's right, Pete. NBC40 looks great on 798 HD.
NBC40 has your NFL games covered.
Just a program note that the Conversations with the Candidates airs each Sunday morning at 8:30, and again the same edition Tuesday night at 7, and we will be presenting this program to you now through the November election and featuring the different candidates. We hope that you will join us during that time. That's all the time we have for this edition of Conversations with the Candidates. If you would like to submit a question for any of our future guests running for office, you can visit our website at NBC40.net. Look for Conversations with the Candidates logo on the right side of the home page. Once there, you will be able to submit your question, and listen, you may hear us use it in a future edition of our forum. Again, visit NBC40.net and submit your question for the candidates. Our guest today has been Republican Susan Adelizzi-Schmidt. She is seeking the 1st District Senate seat in the November election. I'm Jeff Whitaker, inviting you to join us next time for another edition of Conversations with the Candidates.